The question of the day is your estate plan really complete? Hello everyone, Travis here, back with another video. Lots of important things to cover in our discussion today of reviewing your estate plan. Not only does having an estate plan give you peace of mind, it'll also be a huge help for your heirs, who will eventually be the ones handling things after you're gone. Unfortunately, but understandably, people don't like talking about their future demise. It becomes a conversation that is delayed through the years and may not be had at all in some cases. Despite the discomfort that comes with discussing your end-of-life wishes, to not have that conversation almost always ends up with a worse situation for your surviving loved ones. And as viewers of this channel, I know you all have the drive and determination to set yourselves and your loved ones up for a brighter financial future, and that includes fortifying your estate plan. Before we get started, please consider subscribing to the channel if you want more financial education and investing videos on your feed. We're marching right along to our goal of 100 subscribers before the end of the year. Okay, let's get to the video. When I think of examples of strong estate plans I've seen in my practice, they're usually comprehensive, specific, and up-to-date. I'm going to break down today's topic into 4 sections of common questions I hear and things to keep in mind. Now remember, I'm not an estate planning attorney. Those people specialize in this field and can help with drafting documents and creating the strategies to help you achieve your end-of-life wishes. Today we're discussing the basics, but I encourage you to meet with an estate planning attorney that you trust to discuss the fine details of your personal plan. The first question I hear a lot is, what documents should I have done? The first step is knowing what documents you should have completed. Obviously, if your situation is more complex, then you may need additional things beyond what we discuss here. So let's begin with the trust. A revocable trust can be established while you're living, and then you must transfer assets into the trust. Things like real estate, valuable possessions, and investment accounts are commonly placed into the trust. What should not be put in trust are your retirement accounts and IRAs, which will pass to your beneficiaries separately. We'll get to that later. The trust is useful because it allows your assets to pass to your beneficiaries without needing to pass through probate court, which can be a lengthy and not so private process. It gives you greater control over how your assets are distributed and to whom. In addition, let's say you become incapacitated but do not die. The trust can be set up to provide for your care and for your loved ones. In addition to the trust, you may also want to create a will. Some people wonder, if I have the trust, why do I need the will? Isn't it redundant? Now, there are differences between the two documents. One benefit of creating a will is that any assets that you haven't put into your trust will go to who you want it to go to. If you have minor children, you can state in your will who you want to act as their guardian in the event that both parents pass away. Not to mention, different states have different rules regarding how assets are distributed, so it's not a bad idea to have both. It's a good idea to document how you want your medical care to be handled near the end of your life. This is established in a living will. If you're terminally ill, have gone through a severe medical event, or you're incapacitated in any way, the living will instructs your doctor and your loved ones of your wishes for care. Would you like the medical team to attempt to sustain your life for as long as possible? Or do you not want certain types of treatment? In addition, a medical power of attorney can be used to designate a loved one to make medical decisions on your behalf if you're no longer able to do so. Finally, a financial power of attorney can be extremely useful when it comes to managing your money affairs. There are different ways to set this up, but if you ever become incapacitated and you're unable to manage your own finances, you can name a trusted individual to make these decisions for you. Now, the scope of these responsibilities can be very specific, or they can be made general to cover many different things. Number 2, what about my IRA and 401k? Now, as I alluded to earlier, your IRAs and retirement accounts don't belong in your trust. However, it is important that you designate beneficiaries on these accounts. The beneficiary naming process for IRAs is handled by the custodian who holds the money. You do have the option of naming a primary and contingent beneficiary should your primary heirs predecease you. You can also name your trust as an IRA beneficiary, but this should be planned in advance because it's not ideal for everybody and the trust must be set up correctly. For a qualified plan like a 401k, you're required to name your spouse as your primary beneficiary unless they sign a waiver to forego that designation. You can also name beneficiaries on your taxable brokerage accounts, or you may already have a joint account set up with a spouse, which also transfers ownership outside of the trust and outside of probate. Number 3, how often should I review my estate documents? The easy answer to this question is more than once, hopefully. The real answer is it depends. Anytime you experience a life-changing event such as marriage, divorce, dealing with loss, birth of children, or moving states is a good time to sit down and review your estate plan. As laws change, you'll also want to be up to date on the latest and be sure your plan reflects that. Things like beneficiaries and your accounts should be looked at annually, while making changes to your other estate documents can happen as needed. Question number 4, who do I name as my trustee? First of all, maybe the question should be, what is a trustee? Let's answer that first. A trustee is a person or company that you appoint to handle the distribution of assets in your trust. They have a fiduciary responsibility to your trust beneficiaries and must act in your beneficiary's best interest at all times. Some people name themselves as the trustee of their own living trust, while others name their spouse or a trusted loved one. You can also name a successor to handle the trustee duties should your primary trustee not be able to do it. Speaking of responsibilities, the trustee may be called upon to oversee things like the management or distribution of real property and investment accounts, paying taxes, distributing income from the trust, and keeping accurate records of transactions. The trustee may also hire a tax or financial advisor to assist them with the various accounts. Instead of naming a person to act as trustee, some people opt to name a corporate trustee, such as a bank or a trust company. For a fee, the corporate trustee will handle items pertaining to the trust. There are situations where naming a corporate trustee makes more sense than naming a person, especially as a successor trustee. But again, this depends on personal circumstances. Now, I know I only said 4 sections, but I wanted to mention another thing to keep in mind. Your perfect estate plan is not complete unless your heirs know where to find information on your assets. This includes keeping a record of where important documents are located and where your accounts are. You may also want to give instruction on how they can access things on your computer, like your email and social media. Include the phone numbers of advisors who should be contacted upon your passing, like the estate attorney, accountants, and of course, your financial advisor. So that about wraps up our discussion on strengthening your estate plan. I hope this gives you more things to consider and motivates you to get started if you haven't yet. Our Andrews Advisory Associates investment management clients will also receive a more comprehensive checklist with this video to help fill in some of the gaps. We are also hosting a live webinar on Wednesday, June 29th, featuring guest speaker Michelle Ogata, who is an estate planning attorney. This video should drop before then, so please shoot us a message or an email if you'd like the Zoom link to attend. Thank you all for the support and love you've shown the channel. That's all for today. We'll see you on the next one.